Hello, Uta here with my artifacts that are kind of in the sun. I've got the cardboard blocking it again. This is coral bells, a plant mostly grown for its beautiful red leaves, also known as heuchera, and a very glowing jaguar variety marigold. Now we're just going to go right into this part two of trans pregnancy plus testosterone. So Jennifer Lahl and Kallie Fell are at the Center for Bioethics and Culture, and they have a YouTube channel called Center for Bioethics and Culture Network. I highly recommend it. They did a documentary featuring, I don't know, quite a few, maybe even half a dozen detransitioners. And I think it's available for free now on their channel. Okay, so just alarmingly, we are witnessing a direct assault on the language associated with women's health in medicine. And actually, when I was researching the iatrogenic harm that happens, the harm through these pills or injections of testosterone to the particularly female babies, I was trying to see if there was a case that someone mentioned in comments. And I think there must be because Jennifer Lahl did our research for us. She didn't mention specifically that the baby girl had no vagina, but she does say that there can be deformities in the genitals in girls whose mothers have been taking testosterone during pregnancy. That could be very complicated too for someone who is heavy and doesn't realize that they're pregnant and they think that they don't have a period anymore because of the testosterone. You know, it's the hormonal balance in the human body is quite complicated. Um, oh yes, so the term that I found was about men who ideate a opposite sex persona. Uh, it was women who are born without a vaginal opening. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to repeat that. Okay. So there are these researchers, Pfeffer et al. And they're raising fake concerns, which do not take the baby's well being into account. The concerns raised by Pfeffer and colleagues focus on the modern treatment approach physicians take, which they deem excessively precautionary and offspring focused. I know that I ended around here in part one. Uh, there will, of course, okay, yeah. One doesn't have to look hard to find a list of drugs and substances that are known to be harmful to a developing fetus. Yet, safety remains indeterminate due to insufficient research. Pregnant women participating in clinical trials represent intricate ethical challenges. And also, it's very hard to get, you know, the n equals, the subject number, high enough that it's going to be statistically significant or meaningful because you're taking all these risks. You know, they don't they don't do experiments on like, well, how much alcohol could a pregnant woman drink and then the baby's okay. You know, it is known that children can be born with fetal alcohol syndrome, and uh, so they tell you just don't drink, and that's what I just did. I just didn't. um, okay. The safety threshold for women remaining on their high dose testosterone throughout their pregnancy and breastfeeding period. We can imagine a very small subset of pregnant women who would be willing and eligible to participate in this kind of research. Um, yeah, we should not really allow unborn children to be the subjects in medical research. You know, I mean, sometimes to save the life of a mother or because of some other valid reason, a mother might have to take certain medications, and the doctor will say, well, we'll have to, um, these are the risks, and I want you to have informed consent. I really don't think that these young women, because older women on testosterone are not going to get pregnant. Um, so anyway, yeah. So let's jump to the concern is highlighted in the statement of a participant from the study under scrutiny who pondered, if I take testosterone, will it reduce my milk production? I think the answer is yes. The La Leche League said that. Will I transfer it to my kid? I don't know. And remember, testosterone is a carcinogen. Again, we don't have any information on that because this person is, this is a quote from a captured individual. Nobody lets cis women take testosterone and breastfeed. um, I honestly, I'm really concerned that the testosterone that they're taking is lowering their intelligence and their capacity for logical thought processing. Current research is already probing the effects of testosterone on breast milk production and its impact on breastfeeding infants. One unsurprising preliminary finding suggested that elevated testosterone levels adversely affect milk production. The La Leche League notes that testosterone interferes with the hormone necessary for lactation, which is prolactin. Presently, testosterone is, I would have said currently, but because anyway, testosterone is classified as a teratogenic U.S. FDA pregnancy category X drug, suggesting it can induce birth defects. It is labeled as such because studies in pregnant women have demonstrated a risk to the fetus, and our human or animal studies have shown fetal abnormalities. Risks of the drugs outweigh the potential benefits. It is well established that prenatal exposure to androgens, such as testosterone, can cause genital defects in females. You want to be a grandma? Lady who's taking the tea when you're pregnant? Obviously, they don't want to be a grandma. They want to be grandpa. But, that's a fantasy. Okay, androgens act as masculinizing hormones guiding the formation of male genitalia and inhibiting the development of a vaginal opening in males. So probably it might do the same thing with a female fetus. Consequently, medical practitioners are not displaying okay, they're accusing, these Pfeffer and all are accusing doctors of displaying cisnormativity in judgment. So this is what happens when you've got all this political language coming into health and medicine. Okay. Given the known effects of testosterone on a developing fetus, a conservative precautionary approach is duly warranted. Here's another quote from a subject in this study. They were supposedly 22 medical practitioners, but they didn't say that they were doctors. And then 70 women around the world who are in this testosterone consumption habit. And that's actually, it's probably some kind of online survey or something like, who knows if even they have it all verified. There's a bunch of research around androgen exposure in utero and intersex conditions. Oh, they bring up the intersex conditions. See, they always conflate trans and intersex. By the way, steersman, if you're watching this, I have decided to develop my own lexicon so that my brain is not submerged in ideological political language. I took a drubbing from this person on a blog for saying I call it cross-sex ideology. I don't, we do need to change our language back to sex and to reality and biology. Okay, so this person is saying about herself, as someone who is gender other, to work hard to not create a different body that is gender other, meaning, it's like create a body. I mean, she can't say have a baby. It feels weird. It feels a little hypocritical. Well, she's a lot hypocritical. It's essential. These are the words of Lahl and Fell of the Center for Bioethics. It is essential to differentiate between being intersex and being transgender. Intersex variations or differences in sexual development, DSD, impact an individual's chromosomes, genitals, hormones, reproductive system, and their entire life. And they often have other health problems. When considering the experimental nature of women who are on high dose testosterone while pregnant, we concur with the authors that there is a scarcity of evidence and studies, but as well there should be. We shouldn't be doing this experiment. But this is largely because this is uncharted territory. Safe and ethical methods to study, track, and monitor this demographic are lacking, as it is a substantial sample size, as is a substantial sample size, right? I mean, all of the studies, including the Dutch study, which is the foundation for what's called the Dutch protocols giving puberty blockers to kids. I mean, that was based on the survey results of 33 of their subjects. Originally 70 subjects, then 55, then one killed himself and the other died of sepsis after surgery. So then they had 53 and then only 33. That's less than I have trans widows. We have, I'm waiting for the 45th survey answers. Okay. For, they're writing here, for those who wish to become pregnant. I really think we need to just fix the language. For women who wish to become pregnant, taking testosterone can be problematic. Even Planned Parenthood says that. Pfeffer and colleagues write that most participants in their study use testosterone as they call it a critical medically managed component of their transition. You know, there's so much of this that is really not medically managed. There are all these fears about pausing testosterone because of the emotions of pregnancy. I think it'll just add. I think it'll really make you nuts. And they're worried about postpartum depression. So, you know, just don't take risks with a baby. Uh, and, okay. Yeah, she says, this is Lahl and Fell. They say, we have to stop here, rub our eyes, and shake our heads. Why would someone wanting to pass as male desire to take on the very female task of pregnancy? Not only that, but none of the stated concerns or fears of stopping testosterone during pregnancy, postpartum, or while breastfeeding are life-threatening. This is this whole emotional blackmail of the suicide narrative. There are ways to safely manage depression and body dysphoria that don't involve potentially harmful compounds. Yes, like watching Uta's Wellness Movements playlist and doing them twice a day and drinking a lot of herbal tea and being out in nature and gardening and having quality psychotherapy to deal with your traumas and possible abuse experiences in childhood. Yes. Oh, and all of this is associated with dramatic hormone shifts. I mean, I felt great. I felt really great. I was so happy, you know. Um, the effects of external testosterone on the female body during pregnancy, postpartum, and breastfeeding remain unknown. One of the doctors so there were some doctors in this, I guess. One of the doctors agreed if you couldn't deal without testosterone, then you probably shouldn't be pregnant. Upon reviewing the treatment approach proposed in this article, it appears the authors lack a nuanced understanding of medical ethics and the principles of evidence-based medicine. They offer a distorted interpretation of the 4 basic principles of medical ethics and their application in patient care. Those are in part 1. But it's the do no harm and do good and don't treat people in a biased, stereotyped way. If a trans man, aka a woman who ideates a male persona, seeks to conceive and bear a child, the physician is obligated to safeguard both patients, the parent and the fetus. And, you know, I wouldn't want to have the buyer's remorse that would come from having a child with some kind of severe problem that your consumption of a substance caused. another piece of this is what I've observed in all the stories from the detransitioners and the other things that I've read and watched is there's often a lot of illegal drugs and alcohol in this culture. Um, so, and it's combined. There's also a lot of antidepressant type drugs and tranquilizers and stuff like that that um, it's also in the mix. The author's suggestion that medical providers should deviate from the principle of do no harm to follow paths where the evidence indicates harm is quite shocking. This perspective, driven more by ideology, emotions, and personal desires, and I will add politics, than by evidence, conflicts with the foundation of evidence-based medicine. And I'm going to end there. Be well always in mind and body, and count the butterflies.